Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story TV and the Her Story podcast. This is Gertrude Matcha here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating lady coming to us all the way from New Zealand this time. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Tell everybody your full name, where you're based in the world, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Yes, so I am Christine, and my Chinese name is Wen Kit. My last name is Yip, so it's Christine Wen Kit Yip. Now, I can add to really long name because of the cultural background. So
I
call me
love it.
Christine. All my friends call me
Wonderful.
Christine. I am in Auckland, New Zealand, and I've been here for 10 plus years. I have moved from Hong Kong to New Zealand in the 1999. It was a bit of an accident, to be honest, and
A
and
happy
since
accident.
it is a happy accident, and since then my life changed substantially. And what I do now, I'm a business improvement advisor because I realize there's so much that I can see. Things can be done better. So that has basically been almost the things that I've always been doing in my life. And I just
Mm,
realized this is actually something that I really want to do for the rest of my life.
that's absolutely wonderful. You know, not many people find themselves in the right profession doing something that they love. And it sounds to me like you stumbled upon this amazing opportunity. Tell us what it is exactly you do, how you're helping businesses thrive and grow.
Yes, I've realized I've spent quite a lot of time in different business. I've spent almost 10 years in manufacturing and logistics. And all
Right,
the people I work with, they are sort of learning on the job. And I realize there's so much stuff that we can do better. All these
right.
different teams can work better together instead of working on their own. Better
Yes,
collaboration, better use of resource. Everyone have an easier time, and
right,
particularly these days, like there's so much demand of moving goods around. People changing job, so the pressure is actually quite high. Um,
hmm,
so I have actually condensed all my experience in the corporate years into a book to help people guide them through a structured way of working better together and working better
yes.
with technology as well.
Wow. So let me take you back to your formative years, that young girl who moved from Hong Kong and came to New Zealand. What was that experience like? The culture shock? What were the main differences in your transitioning from Hong Kong to New Zealand?
One of the really big thing was I actually didn't realize how big the shop is going to be. As a 16, 17, I just thought I'm going on a flight and then I'm going to have a good time. And I land into my host family, which is actually in a really small rural town in New Zealand with
Where was
800
that
people.
exactly?
It's Reparora.
And
So,
where, which part of New Zealand? I don't even know where that is.
so I can tell you, it's a really, really small rural town between Taupo, which is a tourism place, and
Yes.
Rotorua, which is another tourism place. And
Okay.
that's almost like a little place on the like beside the highway, state highway.
Wow.
And nobody really go there, to be honest.
No, I've never heard of it.
But like I somehow the universe got me a host family, and these are lovely
Okay.
people. And so, because of the offer, I'm like, I can't say no. I mean, I don't want to wait for a chance of may or may not have any family host me.
Yes.
So I did, and I just took the chance. And the shock was really that when I arrived, the first weekend when my host mom and dad had to go to work, um, I was at home in a country town in complete silence.
Wow.
There was nothing. There was no
Nothing.
noise. Like I sit in my own bedroom, was
Ah,
thinking, this is surreal. This is not normal. I've never had anything like this in my whole life. And I realized this is a real, this is the real deal. This is a
yes.
complete different country. In a complete, like I'm in some sort of adventure.
That is just incredible. So the silence. What is the population of Hong Kong compared to the population of 5 million people in New Zealand?
7 million in a really, really small
Oh,
city. So
wow.
yeah, that was a real shock. Basically, 800 people. I was the only Asian. And people mistaken me as are you Japanese? are you Maori? Are you the Aboriginal here? Because they've never seen
Ah,
me. Like they've been living in a place with their own culture, and I come
yes.
from a very different background.
And this is almost 20 years ago, correct? So
Yes,
it
20
was,
years ago.
yeah, yeah. We came to New Zealand almost around the same time. It's quite interesting when you told me that. I was like, okay, there's another little parallel to our stories.
Yep.
Absolutely fascinating. So you went on to study at Victoria University, correct?
Yes, I did. Yes, yes. I study information systems, and
Hmm.
in parallel, I also did more sociology and philosophy. I'm always fascinated about people. So I want
Okay.
to know technically how to do things better and get a
Right.
job, knowing that having a job is important. But
Yes.
like this people thing, yeah, it's always very fascinating for me.
That is interesting. So you've got this background in IT, you've got stuff in philosophy, you're into project management. It's a very, very strange combination.
I am so glad I've done this strange combination. And it was just at the time that I was able to do it through Victoria. What I
Hmm.
have realized is sometimes with very technical focus, there are projects that's been done that are only focusing on the technical outcome, only
Yes.
focusing on maybe the profit. But
Right.
people got left behind, and I feel very
Hmm.
strong about it.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, and you really seem to be bridging that gap where those people are getting left behind and really making a difference in that sense.
Yeah,
So, let's say, for example, I wanted to take you on as a consultant in my business. I'm struggling. Most entrepreneurs are struggling right now with what's happening with COVID, and people are having to reposition their businesses and find
yeah.
smarter ways to do things. Take me through a step by step process. How would you help me to get from A to B?
Yes, so what I do is to start with raising the awareness, because a lot of businesses realize they want to pivot, they want to get to a better outcome, but what you
Yes.
need to actually is start with what data you have got, like where are the
Yeah.
performance level. So there may
Okay.
be some quick win opportunity that you have not realized because you've been so busy thinking that there is a bit of a problem and there is the future and there's
Yeah.
this pathway of gap. Where do you go? So the
Yeah.
very first step is to look at where things are at. And opportunity may come through with finding new business or actually some sort of like internal change and saving.
Right.
And that gives the business and the operation a bit of stronger standing and stability, and
Right.
with that, you can go into okay, now that we've got stability, what are the future options? And of course, the option can be, quite visionary. And with a
Mm-hmm.
visionary option, there's potentially maybe a bit more investment, maybe a bit more preparation. So getting
Yes.
the cash flow into doing that is really important. So
Mm-hmm.
operationally, how do you move and how do you plan all the mechanical logistic to get there is really important as a roadmap. Um,
So, so I'll just jump in here quickly.
yep.
Helping people or entrepreneurs attract investors so they can get the funds you're talking about. Is that something else you do?
I do a bit of that, but more so is if they get more clarity of the
Mhm.
future state and how to get
Yes.
there, it almost comes as then you almost have a business case to go to investor for more investment. And also, while you're looking for that, your business is stronger with cash flow and the performance.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because you do have to prove the outcomes of what you're
Yes.
trying to do
Yep.
before investors can actually see that it's worth investing in.
Exactly. That's right. And then the
Okay.
clarity as well is really important. The
Mm-hmm.
clarity of the vision, the conviction of like, this is like the right direction for you and for the business. In
Yes.
that case, that is almost like a really good story for the investor that are coming to your way.
Okay. Now, the fascinating thing that I find about your work, I mean, you are so multifaceted. It's quite intriguing to read your bio. You're now becoming an author. Tell us about your book, what the title is, and what you've covered in that book.
Yes, so this book is going to be ready in the next month or two, and the book
Mhm.
title is called Power Up. So, what the book is about is trying to get the decision maker and particularly business owner a
Mhm.
really good understanding of all these parties that are at play in the
Yes.
business. So there is just finance, there's the customer, there's the employee, as well as the
Yes.
process that are at play. Now, if they are
Right.
working together, you get a lot of clarity and also your business improves dramatically. Okay.
Right. Right.
And that's quite often we only focus on one side, and
Yes.
because we haven't got the overall view. So this is really to help business to improve productivity and
Right.
also improve innovation.
Fantastic. And that productivity piece is really crucial. I love it.
Extremely. That's right. Yep. Being stronger internally and getting the team
Yes.
to work together, your innovation is almost going to come just like that. And I think
Yes.
quite a lot of organizations are focusing on what are the next shiny thing and put a lot of energy in that. When in reality, it might just be already there. We're not realizing it.
Yeah. Now, as a woman coming from a diverse background, you're not a Kiwi, you're not from New Zealand. Have you encountered any challenges just based on your ethnicity to get into big organizations and work with them?
Yes, yes. I mean, quite often, and this is very personal, right? There has been time that when I've done a really good job, and then the outcome is I don't get promoted because it feels like, well, the other guy has been there for much longer.
Yes.
um, and yeah, not having been a fluent English speaker in the very beginning, that means
Yeah.
that opportunity gone to somewhere else, even though I have the knowledge and like the ability to do the job.
Skills.
So that was some hard time, and it got me thinking: do I need to change myself? Like, do I need to be like everyone else to be like?
Mm,
And I think eventually I come to be more comfortable with who I am,
yes.
um, and yeah, acquire all this like different sort of perspective and understanding of this different industry and different group, and
Yeah.
that almost make me who I am now that I am more sort of compassion and understanding of why people
Yes.
have different sort of different
Views.
way of reaction, different perspective.
Yes, yes. It's all about understanding the other's perspective in this case, correct?
Definitely. And I think this is the key of sometimes breaking down some of the silo and barrier of working together. The
Yes.
more I work with very diverse group, I'm also contributing in the community space and COVID response.
Yeah.
There are things that I realize it's not because people don't listen. Sometimes it's not because they're arrogant. Sometimes there is a bit of lack of trust and lack of understanding. And if the world have
Right.
just a little bit more understanding, we all gonna be better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really important. Trust and understanding is a crucial part in building any relationships. I think trust is a huge one. And you are in the workplace trying to bridge that gap. So, if I was to take you back to your past, let's imagine that time is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Your past, your present are existing in the same timeline, and you could go back to that little girl
Yep.
who was coming from Hong Kong, going to the other side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
If you could have a conversation with her
Yep.
based on the things you've learned about life and about people, what would you say to her?
I'll say be less uptight and just relax and try to enjoy life a bit more.
Yes.
Yeah, I think with my upbringing, and I don't know if it's the thing from Hong Kong, everyone trying to achieve something, and you've got to do it in the shortest amount of time, and you've got to achieve certain level of status or that sort of thing,
Yes.
and that you are a good person. And in reality, this life is not that, and we have seen it in the in this couple of years. It is about really understanding who we are, and
Hmm.
then going with our instinct, and maybe just be open minded and the opportunity presented.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to trust your instincts. You have to trust your guts, right?
Totally, that's
Because
right. I'm
that.
really pleased that I've done it a couple of times, but at the time, people
Mm,
go, "What are you doing?"
yes. And you trusted that inner voice that was guiding you, and you weren't wrong. A lot of women don't know how to use their intuition. I
Mm,
say that your intuition is like a muscle.
yes.
You use it and it gets stronger. And the more you use it, the stronger it gets, to a point where you don't even realize you're using it.
Yeah. That's the thing. And
Fantastic.
sometimes it could be so different from what everyone else telling you. The
Yes.
society have all this different way of you should do this, you should do that. I'm glad that I actually decided, some of the stuff I just don't like to do it. So forget it. I'm going to do things my way.
I love it. I love it. It gives you total control. It makes you the captain of your ship. You are the one who's creating your reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Love
And we all
that.
have the
All right.
ability. Yeah, so I'm glad that we got talking about this.
Okay, so now let me take you into your future, seeing as time is an illusion. And if we could teleport you to the 100-year-old you, you are sitting on your rocking chair, you've lived this amazing life.
Hmm.
You've got your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, your dogs, your cats, whatever it is around you. And you could talk to that older you and have a conversation with her. What would
Hmm.
you say to her based on how you're living your life right now?
And I think what I would say to her, given that she's already older and live a life, I'll basically just, yeah, be very happy to have a conversation, but knowing that I'm still um, sort of exploring some of the unknown in life,
Yes.
and actually be okay with the unknowns in life, because that makes it quite exciting.
It does.
I'll
It
be really
does.
glad that she's well, and the future is looking relative, like pretty happy and peaceful, and I'll be well. But almost like I don't feel like I need to know what happened. I'm just
Okay.
really pleased to know that she's there, and I've grown into maybe be more bit more wise person.
And you made it to 100 and celebrate that.
Wow, yeah, kicking and living. So I'm hoping that by the time I'm still partying and dressing up and it'll be fabulous kind of thing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so let me end my interview with this question. Is there anything I should have asked you that I missed out? Sometimes when I do these interviews, my interview subject might have something else that they're working on, and I didn't touch on that subject, or I just missed out some little nugget of wisdom I could have got out of that person. What would that be?
I think one of the thing is don't be afraid to sort of do some coaching and mentoring with another person.
Mhm.
I am now a coach and mentor. And the reason I'm doing it is because I've got so much goodness from my coaching and mentoring sessions that I've had in the past. Now,
Right.
there are a lot of blind spot, and I realized that actually bouncing with someone else had made a huge difference of my clarity. So I would
Yes.
encouraging everyone, like particularly for us women, sometimes we just kind of
Mm.
think, oh, maybe we're kind of afraid to spend money on ourselves. So I
Yes.
realized, well, guess what? I worth every penny of it. So, and it has got me actually, I actually got really good outcome out of it. So I'm
Yeah.
glad I've actually had the support.
Yeah. And they say that success leaves clues. when you get a mentor, when you get a coach, they're going to help you get to your destination quicker, faster, and easier.
Yes.
And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are people out there who have done what you're trying to do. Rather model off those successful people than starting from scratch.
Exactly.
So
That's right.
that's awesome. I'm glad I asked you that question. But thank you again for stepping forward and coming onto our platform to share your story. You know, the Her Story movement is trying to uplift, inspire, empower women through the sharing of our stories. I believe that every person is a door into another world. And until you open that door and you get to meet that person, like what we've just done in the last 20 minutes, you never know what is behind the door. So that's my encouragement to all of you people out there who are listening to this podcast, who are listening to this interview. Be curious, like Christine said. Ask questions. Talk to the people who cross your path. We don't meet each other by accident. So tune in again tomorrow when I come back with yet another fascinating guest. And Christine, thank you so much for this interview. I'm really looking forward to the relationship we will build from here going forwards. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. If you are considering to come and take part in our next online summit, please register. The website is the herstorycircle.com. We are looking for women's stories. We are trying to curate 1 million stories in the next year. Changing the world one woman at a time, one story at a time. So have a fantastic day wherever you are. Christine, thank you so much again for this
Thank you for
interview.
having me.
Bye for now, everybody.